Hello, everybody. It's Sue Stiles, host of Hindsight's 2020 and owner of Maximized Results Consulting. Today, I want to introduce to you Valerie Garcia. Hello, Valerie.
Hi.
I met Valerie when she spoke at our Calgary's largest real estate event, the Forecast Breakfast this year. And Valerie, when you spoke there were several other speakers, and I took the most notes from what you had said. And I think I heard that feedback from other people as well. And I'm doing this Hindsight video series because so many people, entrepreneurs, we are working our business on our own, solopreneurs. And there's this vast array of knowledge out there, but we don't always get the chance to sit down and talk with everybody. So if I can sit down and talk with a few people and ask you to share, when you look back your hindsight, maybe everybody can share the benefits of your experience. So we met, as I said, at the conference. That's a pretty prestigious event. How did you get to that place of prestige? What was your road?
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, prestige wouldn't be a word that I use to describe myself. But I've been working in real estate 20 years now, and I worked with a number of really big brands all over the world in the education and technology and social media side. And then 3 years ago, I took a big leap, quit my job, no safety net, no
Wow.
plan, to work on my own and to take on speaking gigs and consult with clients on education and content and writing. So it happens that I spoke at an event in Banff a year ago, and someone from Calgary was there and heard me and said, "We'd love to have you come and speak for Krebs." And so that's how I ended up there.
And I mean, right in there is a little point to bring out how you're getting speaking gigs. So you spoke at the Banff Western Connection. How did you get to speak there?
Um, I think I ended up there because the person that was organizing that and I connected on social media a couple of years ago. And we'd been Facebook friends. And so he reached out to me through that.
Wow. Just this, it sounds like luck, but it's that purposeful driven connecting building. And so let's segue right into, I always want to ask my friends, what have been the best results when it comes to growing your business?
Mm.
Where have you made the best results, found the best clients? Talk a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Best results that I've gotten have really just been relationships. And I started out building relationships that were going to grow my business years before I knew that I was going to have a business. Even, I mean, 10 years ago, people were telling me, one day you're going to work for yourself. And I thought, no, I'm never going to do that. I'm just doing this as an employee. This is just who I am. But it turns out years later, absolutely every one of those relationships that I built um, without any ulterior motives, came back around to be somebody that grew my business somehow. So referrals, someone said, I know you need to talk to this person. And so majority of my business comes from relationships, and relationships that I've worked on, in the past, or that I continue to nurture, new people that I reach out to. But yeah, my business comes from people, just talking to people. And I'm not going to lie, it's scary. I'm a closet introvert. I'm a public speaker for a living, and people think that you can't be that and an introvert, but I am. I get uncomfortable in small group situations because I feel like I have to have something to say, and which is weird for a public speaker. But so it's hard for me to reach out and to network and prospect, and I get that. And so when I'm teaching people, how to do that, I'm coming from a place of, I know this is hard, and but it is the most important thing we can do in our business. It's absolutely where the bulk of my business comes from.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because the first thing on my mind is, what about people who don't love building connections or aren't used to building connections? Not every business owner is looking to make 100 friends. They're looking to do business. So what's the attitude people can have, or what kind of, how can they go in? What's the technique?
Well, I was talking to somebody about that yesterday, and she was saying, I'm not one to toot my horn. I'm not one to say, look at me, hire me. That's not my nature. And I said, I get it. That's not my nature either. And I think for a lot of people who want to build business relationships and not friends, that's their situation too. I said, go into it like, I can help you with this, as opposed to, please hire me. And I think when you approach it from that perspective, it helps you look at how your content brings value, if it brings value, the way that you reach out, because instead of you having to constantly say, let's be friends, or let's connect, or please hire me, instead it's, I can help you with something.
What a
And I think
great,
that really changes the
yeah.
way it feels for you, but also for them.
Yeah, I can feel a change right inside, even as you're just saying that. I mean, great way to build business.
Mm.
Long standing, like it's a long, we're waiting for that snowball effect. But if we talk a bit about the best way, can you speak to any of the worst ways maybe you've tried to get business, or other people that you know have tried to get business where it just doesn't work?
Yeah, I think all of the things that have ever flopped for me, or really any of my clients, came from a place of talking about yourself. Just constant, look at me, look at me, look at me. I work with a lot of people now who are revamping their websites, where a couple of years ago they wrote these huge about me pieces that were all, I'm number one and I won all these awards and I, I'm great at this. And now so many of them are taking a second look at that and looking at revamping the way that they market themselves to, I work with brand new baby agents, and I always say, don't have a I statement, have a why statement. Because if I ask, why should I hire you? And every sentence starts with I,
Hmm.
it's an I statement. So talking to your customers as, you need help with this, and you're going to have questions about this, and you're going to need somebody who's going to help you through this process. That's me. I think that the other way is the only way I've ever seen not work, where it's just like, I'm great, I'm great, I'm great. I haven't seen good results from those situations.
Yeah, and that's a good default that people fall into because they're not brand managers, or they don't come from a marketing background. So all
Mm.
you think when you're starting a business is, how come I'm so good, or why would people want me? And I need to tell them that right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
Um,
there's pressure too, there's that pressure to look a certain way online, and have a certain persona, and come across a certain way. And I think that is a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves. And I think when you
mm.
have the courage and the bravery to be real and be like, hey, I'm a mess sometimes, I think that's when really people start to pay attention to you, and you start resonating.
So let's talk about that for a minute. Social media, online presence.
Mm.
It really feels like it is turning now from that. Everyone realizes it's perfection online, and the real story could be something quite different.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that for a minute?
Yeah, I mean, I think that in the absence of something, that thing stands out even more. And I think that, gosh, somebody said to me a couple of years ago, we underestimate how hungry people are for realness,
Mm.
because everything is so manufactured or fake, or massaged or airbrushed or whatever. And so when you see real, it stands out as something really unique and special. And I think we've gotten to that point where we've done so much of that to our content and our persona, that when we are real, people are hungry for that. And yeah, we're definitely at that point in social media, but I'm definitely seeing us turning that corner in marketing as well. Like, grassroots marketing is what's taking off because people want to see real stuff.
And so real, like, can you think of an example, or give us an example? How real do you get? Is it only being real about the bad stuff? What does real look like? And what are people wanting to see that's real online?
Yeah, I mean, I think real looks like whatever you're the most comfortable with for yourself. I've learned to be really open about the fact that I've had hard times and things didn't always go the way that I thought they were going to in my life. And I've had people come up to me and say, like, you have it all together and everything looks perfect. And how do I get there? And inside I'm thinking, my life is a mess. And like, I'm having all the same problems you're having. I realized if you're not seeing that, like I'm doing something wrong, and that's not the persona that I want to be putting out there. So, I think, whether it's your relationship or it's your family life, or it's the fact that your house doesn't always look clean, or, like the kids don't always have the perfect lunch with a little note attached to it, like I think it's okay for us to sometimes just be like, you know what, life is crazy. And, like yesterday I posted on Facebook, like, I was typing to a client and I wrote, sorry for the inconvenience, and my computer auto-corrected to sorry for the incontinence. And I literally caught it the second before I hit send. And I just was like, yeah, I was like, I'm like, that's it. The rest of the day is canceled. I'm in recovery. Like I have to make enchiladas. I cannot anymore today. But like, I had 200 people go, yes, been there, have had that situation happen to me. And,
Yeah.
like, yeah, those moments where it's funny because we're all in the same boat.
So true. And then when you have those real conversations, people are like, oh, good, me too. I
Yeah.
don't have to hide behind some fake mask. We can just talk as people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, so you had bring a whole past and your experience. This show is called Hindsight's 2020. And so let me ask you, when you look back now, when you look back over your life, was there anything good that you're glad that you did, that you could say, this was, I didn't know, but now looking back, great choice, really worked out well. What comes to mind for you?
Yeah, I look back and I'm really thankful that I had the courage to travel solo. I think that that's something I continually come back to when people say, if you look back, do you have regrets? I think one of the things I don't regret is packing up and doing things by myself, even though I didn't have somebody to do that with, not waiting to do
Mm,
that. Maybe one of my favorite memories ever was a week I spent in Turkey by myself, which, when I thought about doing it, I thought, like, this is terrible. I'm not going to enjoy this. I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to wish I had somebody with me. And I didn't. Like, I just loved it. And so, yeah, I mean, just having the courage to do the things I want to do where I am right now in my life, as opposed to waiting until it looks a certain way, or I have a certain person, or I'm in a certain situation. Really thankful I didn't wait.
good for you. What a great encouragement. How many people won't even go to a movie by themselves or dinner by themselves? There's
Yeah.
like a stigma. So that's a great message. And if people ask you, was there anything you regretted, or when you look back, you think, oh, I'm glad I've changed that. Do you have anything that you could speak to on a different scope?
I think when it comes to my career, um, I wish that I had sought out more female mentors earlier in my career. I think when I started, 20 years ago, I was the only female working in my office. There were, 45 guys in my office and me.
Mm,
And I just thought that's what business looked like. And it took me a long time, actually, all the way through my 20s before I realized, like, there are female role models that I could talk to and that I could have reached out to. And I think my biggest regret career wise is that I didn't reach out for a mentor that maybe had a little more in common with me earlier on. I had wonderful male mentors and bosses in my life, but I think maybe I would have had a different perspective on what I was capable of doing and what I could negotiate for myself if I had spoken to, a woman earlier on. And I definitely would encourage, like, younger listeners of this, or anyone really at any age, to seek out those mentors, because they're out there.
It's interesting that you're using the word mentor too, because I was just talking to someone this week who is a newer real estate agent, and they want to get all the help they can, including admin help and all of this. And their question is, but the money
Yeah.
that it costs to hire admin, or the money that it costs to get a personal business consultant or coach, the money.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about mentorship, you're feeding into a realm of people who have made it to a certain level and are happy to turn around and give back, which is no money, but just a period of time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, I mean, I don't even think of myself as a mentor, but I do. I mentor people all the time. I give time, and people say, oh, I should be paying you for this. And I think, no, like I've earned the ability to do this, and you need this, and I can help you because I'm still reaching up to others at the same time. So yeah, I think we all have opportunities no matter where we're at to help other people. And I think that the thing that holds us back the most is we don't ask. And
True.
so many people would say, yeah, absolutely. I'll give you advice on that. Let me show you the contract I use. Let me tell you how to negotiate that. Let me explain what I did wrong.
Yeah. That's a good message. Ask. Just what are you looking for today? At
Yeah,
least ask. You never know. The answer's always no if you don't ask, right?
that's right.
So you talk about, where you're still going and you're still reaching. You've given us some great hindsight. What's on the horizon for Valerie now? Where is a person like you? Where are you going? Where are you setting your sights?
Oh, um, well, I love to transition out of solely real estate related audiences. Had some opportunities in the past year or so to work with some organizations and some groups in greater education fields, and I'd really like to work with some more of those. I'm going to be, fingers crossed, launching some online training this year. And
Mm.
yeah, I'm going to be taking a course that I've written in the past and adapting that for speakers. So I'd like to do more teaching for people that specifically want to do more speaking, and specifically women who want to do more speaking, because I think we need more of those on our stages.
Yeah, for sure. When I started thinking about doing business speaking, between you and me and the audience, I Googled business speakers,
Mhm.
and actually just seeing the fact that they were all men who
Yep.
came up initially really spurred me on. I thought, I can speak about business, can whatever motivates you, I guess, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
when I met you at the Krebs conference, you had a little phrase, and I wonder if you just speak to that from before or for now, but you said it's really important to love the ones you're with.
Yeah.
And I really like that, and it's kind of stuck. Tell me how that fits into your life and your business.
Yeah, again, work with a lot of people who are trying to constantly grow their business, and the I bought the URL, love the ones you're with. I own that now because I say it so much. Um, is that I constantly found myself coming back to the fact that everybody was just scrapping it out for new leads always. It didn't matter what business they were in. It was just always, how do I get more new leads? And my first question to them is always, what are you doing for the people you already know? And most of the time the answer was, well, nothing. And I always remind people, like, if you ask 10 people the same question 10 times, and then you ask 100 people that question once, you're going to get better results from those 10 people. So it's not about having this giant database. It's about loving the ones you have in it and showing them value. And so that really kind of touches on everything I do in my business. So keeping my database tight, working with the people that I already have, asking for referrals from the people that already
Mhm.
know me and trust me, and working on helping the people that are already in my sphere and not constantly having to feel like I got to scrape more people in there.
Yeah.
um, and I think this is a beautiful way to look at business: is love the ones you're with, love those people that are in your pipeline and your database now. And I'm not saying, don't prospect and don't lead generate, but there's so much gold in that group of people that we sometimes ignore.
Yes. I always say your CRM is your gold mine,
Yeah,
but you're the one
it's
that has to
true.
put the gold in there. I love that. I love that note. Love the ones you're with. I've thought about it many times since we've spoken. So if people want to love you and find you, where can they find you online, Valerie?
I am super easy to find. You can just search valeriegarcia.com and you will find me. I usually joke, if you Google my name, I'm the second Valerie Garcia that comes up after the Filipino porn star.
I did
Um,
notice that. Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty obvious that that's not me. But yeah, so yeah, but otherwise, valeriegarcia.com. All my social media is on there. My website's there. It's my blog. Everything's pretty easy to find.
Awesome. Well, lots of value if you want to find out more about her. Check online, whatever social platforms you're on. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes today, Valerie. I love your hindsight and appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye for now. That's a wrap.